Got a VCR here. It's a kind of a clone. It's called an Orion, O-R-I-O-N. Orion. I don't know if that can be seen on the camera or not. I got this up at the school district that I worked for about 8 or 9 years ago, and one of the technicians, they were taking these out of the school, give it to me, and I just brought it home and set it on a shelf. And as you can see, there's a lot of dust and stuff here, so I thought I'm just trying to keep some content going on the channel, because I've got some neat stuff coming, even besides electronics. I've got some other things, but it's going to be really quite a while. So I thought I would just make a little video on cleaning this thing up and kind of checking it out, to keep content going on the channel, because I don't want anybody to give up. I'll say it one more time. I do have a bunch of stuff on the way, and some of it is electronics and some of it isn't. But for right now, I thought we'd clean this up. And these were really a common little VCR, like in schools and churches, and I guess really people that pick them up at Walmart. It has all the basic stuff. So I don't have the remote to it, so we're gonna have to go. Boy, that's dirty inside. Look at that, filthy inside. Have to clean that out. But I thought we'd take a look at it and see if nonetheless we could just even play a tape in it. And it's got some damage there on the front lip of it. And they're not always handled real delicately in the school district. So anyway, that's what our video is going to be about. And clean this off. The legs are missing on the rubber feet are missing on it. But I was told it still worked, or it was still in the classroom whenever they took him out. It was just like a couple days after they took him out, he offered me actually 2 of them, and I didn't have room for another one, so I took this one. And but they were in working condition, I don't know, 15 years ago. Actually, it's not that long, but anyway, I'll get right to the point. I thought we'd open this up and kind of clean it up a little bit and see if we can't, get a picture and a function out of it. See how good or bad it is. So I still hold on to these. I don't use the video as much as I do the audio cassettes, but I still hold on to a few of them in case. I'm kind of one of those guys that, can come up with something. If it's really needed for somebody, I can usually come up with something like this to, save a tape or something like that. But I don't do it. I don't do it for profit, and I don't want to say that I do it for a living. I just do it for hobby or in need. If somebody, says, hey, I've been everywhere and I can't get this or that done, well, then I start looking and seeing what I've got, and I come up with something like this. I'm going to take this off for now. You won't see this yet, but it's a 75 ohm. It's just your cable to connect to a TV. So let's we'll take it apart here and see what we got. And just looking at the outside of it, I'm going to say the inside of it is filthy. With dust. And they had a lot of these set on a cart by the chalkboards up front in the classrooms, and they got chalk dust inside of them. I'm absolutely sure of that, because you could wipe down stuff in those rooms and that chalk dust was just literally everywhere. So it got into these. And I know that probably isn't good on the heads or the tapes on them, because that's like grit or concrete going around in there on those heads. So we'll see what the damage was, if there is any damage. And I'm not claiming this to be a repair video by any means, because to my knowledge, unless the capacitors have failed setting, it should work. I don't know how good it should work. You know, the schools, they don't ever clean the heads, or even the techs that do the IP guys that do the computer stuff, they don't ever clean the heads or something like that on something like this. They just go till the heads get bad, and when these were still in use, they'd go to the heads get bad and they'd just go buy another one. You know, or either that or they would have ordered a bunch of them and had another spare that they could trade out with it out of another room. I see. Okay, we got 2 screws back here. I thought that felt pretty solid. And I don't get into these very often unless it's to clean them. I got one Sony one that is a stereo, and it won't record them, but it will play back Super VHS. And that's the one, I won't say it's kept up the snuff, but that's the one that I've went over good enough to keep it up if somebody would need something, you know, if I could help them out and copy something over for them or something like that. And I don't get that many inquiries anymore on that, but I used to. And sure as I get rid of them, I still barely got the room for them. So, all right, let's pop this off. We'll pop this off and see what the heck we got here. I don't want to crack that plastic. I haven't done one of these for a long, so you guys that have done these all the time, you'll be kind of laughing, saying, you know, oh, you don't even know how to take the cover off. Well, to be honest with you, you're right. And if I remember right, you pull those out. There we go. All right. It don't look too bad, man. That pinch roller looks good. Man, I tell you, that's really surprising. That's really surprising. That one looks like brand new inside. Now, I wish I had some canned air. That one looks like brand new, except maybe here the grease might need to be cleaned off a little bit and re-grease. Feel it. Ooh, yeah, it is. Well, it's not completely sticky. Let's see. But it's not anywhere near as bad as I thought it was. I thought it would really be bad. So, all right. You know, really, there's not a lot to do inside of it. I mean, except plug it in and see if it works. Let me see if I can find the end of the plug here. I don't know how you guys are seeing that. We'll look at that here in a minute. Oh, let's pitch that down like that. I've got all kinds of it. You know, you wouldn't believe the mess in this room that you can't see. All right, I'm going to turn it around for now. I'm just going to turn it on and see what happens. I have to see where the turn on button is. Right there. Okay, it does power up. And, God, I'm going to have to go get a TV set that quick. But you can see the power light is on. And this is really, I mean, in good shape if you look at it. The tuner here's got a little bit of dust on it. But other than that, it looks really good. And I was just looking over here. There's a couple big capacitors out. And they look really good. And it don't look like they're popped or anything like that. So let me go get a VHS tape somewhere if I can find one, and let's just see without a television if this thing will come on and thread the tape. If it'll come on and thread the tape and play it and all that jazz. We'll see what it'll do. I'll be right back. Just picked up a tape here that I happen to have, and it's an old security tape. And I think that's from one of the districts too. And they used to run these on those slow speed recorders. I think this is run about 12 hours or something like that, maybe 24. And I think I've since recorded other material on them, but for now, let's put this in the machine and see if it'll thread up and run. If it does, I'll go get a TV and we'll see if it, it's amazing to me that it's in this good a looking shape. That sounds good. There it goes. Well, I'll be darned. Let's see what I can do without a remote here. And evidently it goes right into play. Okay. Okay, this is a one button thing. Okay, I hit eject. I went too far, so thread that back up. There's rewind. It's awful slow. In fact, it's almost stopping. There we go. I set it down level. There we go. There we go. Can't believe how quiet it is. And I tell you what, the flip side of this, to these at the school districts, sometimes you get a teacher that doesn't use the audiovisual, and they didn't even use these. That's the other flip side, is that they didn't hardly even use them. And so I got a feeling this is one of those. But I thought for sure this one would be caked, and I mean caked full of all kinds of, chalk dust and everything else. There we go. I want to see if it'll stop. As soon as it stops, I want to see if we got a fast forward. We ought to, as good as the rewind is. And I just noticed the tape stays threaded around the drum on this as it rewinds. I'm going to try fast forward. Let that disengage. Okay, I want to try fast forward for a minute and see what we get. Oh, I turned the power off to it, I'm sorry. Now we'll have to go through that again with the boot up. I don't particularly like the controls on this, but it's mainly designed to work with the remote. Let's try that again. Okay, here's fast forward. That looks good. Great. Okay. Okay, we're back, and I got some isopropyl alcohol here. I don't know if you can see that, and it's 70%, and that is the hot stuff. If you're putting that on a wound or something, you can feel the burn, where 100% is the cool stuff. You don't feel that. Most people use the 100% for that reason. This is probably a little bit more acidic. I'm not sure. I'm not a chemist. But this is what I use to clean these. And how I do it, there's a lot of ways to do it, but I take a piece of paper. Some people use a credit card, but I'll cut a small piece of paper like this, and I'll just wet it with alcohol and then do the drum. And that's what we're going to do here. And I'll see if I can bring you guys in. The focus ain't so good that close. Alright, I'm going to settle with that. Okay, so what I do, and I haven't done this for a long time. I used to do this off and on quite a bit, but what I do is I take my alcohol, and I don't know if you can see that or it's blurred or what, and I just pour it on this, and that is way too wet, okay? But then what I do is I'm careful, and I just put it up against the head drum, but put a little pressure on it, but not a lot, and turn it, and you can feel the heads going by. I just felt one go by. You kind of turn it that way. Be sure you can feel them go by. Don't press in on them real hard because you can actually move them out of position or damage them. And I did, look at that. We definitely got dirt on that. Look at that. So this one has been used a little more than I thought. It's still in good shape, but it's been used. Well, let's go the other way here. Be sure we get those pretty clean. All right. Still got a little there. So let's do one more round. You want to be careful and not put a lot of pressure on this. You just want to put enough pressure you can feel the heads as they go around the drum hitting the paper. There's one. I don't feel it now. There's one. There's one. All right. Okay, I don't see any more on there. There's a brunt of what was on there. I don't know how bad that looks to people that do this every day. Okay, now what I do, and on this one, I don't think it warrants any lubrication because it's running smooth as silk. And, you know, what's the old saying? If it's not broke, don't fix it. So what I do, and something you got to be careful for on this 70% is putting it on this rubber pinch roller. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, and you want to be, some people are against this, I'm going to take a cotton swab and I'm going to go around the outer perimeter of the head. And these heads look pretty good because the grooves in it are not worn slick. They're not worn down. When they get worn, they've got these little grooves in them. And what those grooves are for is to put stension on the tape to where the tape gets up against it, and it makes a little heat on the tape where it sticks up against the drum, but not hard enough to stick on it. But the grooves for that are be hard to get in the camera, but the grooves look brand new in that. So it still may not. I don't think it had a ton of hours on it, you know. And they play tapes that the kids bring in and everything else on these, so there's no telling. Somebody might have brought a dirty tape in with a lot of residue, and that's what I'm seeing on that. So, okay, there's the top of it. Good. I can't believe it. I think I got a leaky cap on this bottle. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. It doesn't turn, of course. Being careful of the heads. There's one of the heads there. We'll turn it around. And we'll just kind of do that bottom. And this, like I say, this 70% is hot. Boy, it's hot. If you were putting this on your skin, especially if there's an open cut, you'd feel it. And under normal circumstance, you can feel it. It's hot. Turn this here. Hope I didn't catch that head with. One thing you want to watch is getting the threads or fibers off of these Q-tips caught into those heads. And I've seen people do that and then pull them out, and you hear it almost pull the head out. And I've never seen one damaged because of that, but I've seen people do that a couple times. It didn't hurt them, but potential for damage there is big. I can't see that side like I want to see it. There we go. I know I'm getting it now. Okay, now we're getting, I don't know if you can see that on the Q-tip, but we're getting quite a bit of dirt off that stuff. So it does have some hours. Now I'm going to go ahead and do all these shafts, tape guides, and being careful not to get this wet enough where if there's a motor on it, it drips down, the alcohol drips down on the motor and dries out the grease. That's what you don't want to have. Then you got a noise and the probability of a failure. And these are really fairly trouble-free unless you get something in the mechanicals like that, and then it can all go south. Because you get something dragging and it puts a lot of stress on the other components it's trying to correct for it. Pretty soon you got 2 or 3 things broke on them. All right. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here and get these. Now this is the motor one. This is the one you don't want to use a whole lot on because it'll run right down in there and get in the motor. It's the main, I call it the motor one. It's the main drive one. You just want to get it good and clear where it doesn't slip. You don't have to do overkill on these, but you want to, another trick to it, you want to get enough the grit off of it that it doesn't wear. If there's grit going around and around, not only does it wear the tape, it wears the surface of these out eventually. Let me get this one here. This one will have a stationary audio head, and I want to get it. I don't see it yet, but it's a mono. Be sure we get that good and clean. All right, let me see if I can find that mono head, that mono block, as you call it. Here's another set of guides over here I didn't get. Oh, there's that head right in front of me. Okay. Let me, that's a little wet. I didn't see this side. It's been a long time since I've done something like this. I worked in a church one time, and they had what you call the Baptist Television Network, and they broadcast stuff to all the churches over satellite, and the churches paid for that, and they could record off of it whatever they want. And it wasn't my department, but they put me in charge of kind of setting the recorders, the timers on them, and stuff for the materials that they wanted recorded off satellite. It was like Sunday school teaching materials, and sometimes sermons and stuff for the not the main service in the church, but for the the Wednesday night service in the chapel or something like that. But I did a little cleaning on them for them back then, and that's where I got most of my experience. Let me get this. Make sure that's a stationary head. I'm sure it is, but let me see. Yeah. This is a stationary audio head here, and because this is a non-hi-fi unit. Well, the hi-fi units have this too. They've got both, because they got to be backwards compatible. Let me get that real good. And then this is what you got to be careful with on these rubber pinch rollers. And boy, that one looks good. If you're using 70%, you don't want to overdo it, because it does eat on stuff. I want to get this really as good as I can. Now, I'll tell you, you want to be careful not get that up there where this runs down inside of that and gets on the bearings and stuff. Then you got another problem. But one thing good about this 70%, it's a little bit harder on the rubber, but when it dries, it gives it kind of not a sticky but a tacky surface. But it's a clean tacky surface. And it really grabs the tape, and if your pressures and stuff are good on your capstan, it's really good. Really works well. And for some reason with the acidity in it, it's reluctant to get dirty again. And all the pinch rollers and the pinch guides and everything, they're reluctant to get dirty when you use 70% to clean them. All right. I think we're in pretty good shape, because this is pretty much, in my opinion, it's almost a new machine. Let's try the full loading system one more time. And those guides ought to be about dry now. You got to watch about putting the tape in these too soon, because it'll drag the ferrous oxide off the tape and make it dirtier than it was when it's clean. So something you might want to keep in mind. Okay, am I plugged in now? Okay. I seen a little air gap on that tape that looks like an M wrap. I seen a little air gap on that when it threaded in there. I'll look at that again in a minute. But it's running, the head's running, spinning. It's not in any mode. Let's go into play. We can go into play. Why not? Why aren't we not going? There we go. Everything sounds good. And that drum looks like it's spinning really freely. Really, what Ed Sullivan used to say, really good show. So let me stop that. I hope I don't eject it. There we go. And I'm going to power it down. And I'll be back with you folks. I'm going to get a TV. Okay, we got a TV hooked up. And I may have to train this TV I've got this on a 75 ohm, like a over the air, so I may have to train this TV to find us. I'm not using HDMI and the cables like that, so we'll have to see if we can get into it and go from there. Having trouble with this TV getting it set up to the antenna input. Now, I thought this would be real quick, but it's not. And this is on. Got a pretty good picture.
My hunger's just gone. I wonder where it goes. I don't know, maybe Germany? You're Hungarize. Everybody's fine.
Dad,
I'm sorry.
we're not going to be able to make it this weekend.
My character decides to go and see his kids all over the country.
Hi, Dad.
All right, let's stop.
Music by Paul
Hang on.
I'm thinking.
Let's try a fast forward search. Whoop, I'm turning it on and off again. Okay, it's my fault. Let's get the play here. I'm not used to this control. Okay.
Builds your strength. Keeps you focused.
Okay, evidently it doesn't have a high-speed search.
And
There we go. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. There's high-speed search fast forward.
excuse me.
And here's high-speed search reverse. Now I think this is only a two-headed machine, so you're going to have the bars in there during the search, but that's normal for these.
Change. EA Sports Active keeps you
It's-
motivated. With fun
it's got a good picture.
workouts on the way. Now stay active with more workouts.
There's no lines. There's no lines or white noise in the screen or nothing. It's good. Got good audio, by the way.
$60 purchase. The must-have bag of the season. Free this Friday. Only at Victoria's Secret. Excuse me. When you get a minute,
It's kind of more along a modeler thing, but that's going to be a little bit in the future, and I might have one or two more electronics videos yet. So there's so many people doing these and doing such a good job. I want the channel to stay up, but sometimes I don't want to touch what's already working good. So, well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and it's kind of pieced together, but it's not a bad video. And I'll give you guys a look at the front of the VCR again. And it's a pretty good little VCR. It's just a basic VCR. It's a two-head mono machine. That's all they needed in the schools. And if the tapes were stereo or something, you know the story. They were backwards compatible with that stationary head. So, all right. Well, we made another one. So we'll catch you in the next one.